We are live for a brand new episode to talk about more of Peacemaker Season 2, and you and me both, we are really excited to talk about this episode as there is.
Oh, yeah.
So this week was just big. And so, let's dive right on into it.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
All right. Well, we are here to talk about Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 6, Ignorance is Chris, where I find this episode title funny because Chris is good. I have a good friend that, you've talked with him at least once.
Yeah.
He was part of the Superman panel, so I thought it was funny of having that title there. And knowing
that's the equivalent of when you're in a grade school and your name's in the math problem.
Yeah, exactly. And so
you're the cool kid for the day.
Right, exactly. And so that's what I thought of first when I saw it, of course. But this episode was being hyped up. This is the first episode where everybody got to essentially watch it for the first time together. The first episode that wasn't part of the whole advanced screeners is, there was a big tease of the episode that these last three were going to be huge, and it was legit. Like, I don't think there's any sort of what do you want to say, misdirect there about these last three being big, as this was a huge episode that did a lot, but then also sets up, I think, and from what I've been hearing, a big action-packed last two epides. And so It's going to be exciting. So I can't wait to see more of this, obviously. But, this episode, that was big. And there's a lot to delve into with it. And, what's up, Matthew? I see you already in here. Always great having you around. And but yeah, let's delve into this. As we got a lot here in this episode where let's see here. First, it begins with the diner scene.
Oh, this was great. Great opening.
Yeah, having that, and it's interesting seeing them all be a nice little sort of family there together, and seeing the other Harcourt there and seeing Peacemaker enjoy himself here, which is, a very important place, I think, to begin the episode versus where we end it. Nice contrast there, which is really cool. And one of the things that was interesting that somebody noticed is, there's the picture that they take.
Yeah.
I use the distorted version, which I'm not quite sure why they did the face thing. I'll ask your opinion on that in a moment. But one of the things that somebody pointed out that I thought was interesting is the brother. I can't remember his name. Keith. Thank you.
Yeah.
Keith, instead of doing a peace sign, he holds up three fingers like this in the photo, which is like somebody pointed that out. I was like, that's an interesting. I'm not quite sure of what significance that may hold, but interesting.
Well, we know what 2-finger peace means in England, so in another dimension, it can mean like 3 can mean like
who knows?
Yeah,
who knows? So, but you had this cool moment, and seeing the top trio be the big like stars. I mean, we saw the accolades, of course, and trophies and stuff.
Yeah,
but being able to actually see them out in the open and being like, oh yeah, they're a big deal, and having the picture, and this person doesn't know how to take selfies, which is funny. It's who it is taking the selfies there, but also the mistake was using an older Apple phone that barely has any picture space in it as well. But
yeah,
yeah,
they need to upgrade to the new iPhone 17. That's what they need. Not sponsored, by the way.
Or just upgrade to a better kind of phone. But But anyway, we got this cool thing of where I like the song that we got for like 15 seconds there as well. What was it called? I think I sent you all the music. Let me pull up the list of music here, because there's a cool. I actually really liked pretty much all the music this week. I went
Yeah.
through and listened to them all the day after, I believe, or sometime. I went and listened to them all, and I thought they were all pretty good. And let me see if I can find what that track was there. Little Drops of Heaven by Pretty Maids.
Okay.
Short but little sweet. Bit of a song there, I think. If you listen to the full thing, I thought it was a pretty good song. So, but then we get that picture thing, the whole face melty thing, and I'm not quite sure what to think
Yeah.
of it. But how did you interpret it?
I almost thought that it was since Chris is in the picture and he's not from that dimension, I almost thought it had something to do with that, where it distorts everyone, kind of like in the Spider-Verse movies when the other
Mhm.
Spider-Man come into Miles's
Sure.
dimension, their bodies kind of distort. I don't know. That was my thought, but it was weird to see.
Yeah, I still don't know the point of it. It's like I'm
I
trying to
no,
think on
I
it.
don't
It's
either.
like I kind of don't know. The only thing I guess I can kind of think of is like trying to show that the world's messed up by messing up their faces as a hint or something. But I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
surely
no,
it's
that
something
could
better
be
than
too.
that,
Yeah.
but I don't know. So
Well, and you know that Peacemaker has to be pretty happy to be able to be in a place where it's okay to see him in his costume, because in episode 1 of the show, when he goes to the restaurant in his costume, they're all making fun of him, like, he looks like a
yeah,
clown,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's yeah. It's an interesting having sort of different parallels you can take across and seeing this in this case here with that first opening scene, and then get right into the great intro.
It grows on me each week. Not that I never didn't like it, but
Right.
it's a good theme choice.
Oh, I just love both of the intros.
Yeah.
We then see the 11th Street kids go to Adrian's mom's house, or
Oh,
aka his
that's
house,
great.
and this had me laughing hard. He is such a rude ass to her, and she
I know,
does
and
not
he
care.
he built her up to be like this jerk. He's like, dude, she just invades my privacy, does all this
Yeah.
stuff, and she's just asking him questions, and he's like, "Mom, stop!" And then she goes like on this like rant, sort of like a nice rant of like hardcore being his girlfriend and being slutty and all this
It was
stuff.
so funny too.
Yeah,
Bring up the
it-
whole thing about that,
yeah.
and she's just like, "Shut up!"
Well, and since we're on that scene, I know you heard this, but James Gunn said that in the original script for the episode, he was going to have Economos and Vigilante's
That was
mom
going to
be
be in the
FDA. The
other
other.
dimension.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The other dimension, which that would have been pretty funny.
That would have been
Um,
pretty funny as well.
yeah,
But
but yeah, this mom
the
though
whole
is
the whole the whole like thing about her bringing up about her being the girlfriend, it's okay to be slutty and all that. I was like, that
mhm.
had me laughing good there. I was
Yeah,
like,
that was
oh
great.
my gosh. Like that got me just almost as much as the bird blindness.
Yeah,
I think it's going
yeah.
to be hard for any other jokes to make me laugh as hard as stick with me as much as that bird blindness thing. But
Oh, it's so random. It's great.
I know,
Yeah,
right? But that scene in particular, just everything with her mom, I was like that.
yeah.
That it wasn't too far from it for me though. I just remember watching that. And it was great.
Mhm. And then we enter Vigilante's room and we get pure vigilante logic here, where he's got all this like cocaine and drugs and drug money, and
Yeah.
Adebayo's like, you told me you were broke. I paid for your breakfast the other morning. And he goes, I'm not going to use this money. It's blood money. And he's like looking down. They're all like, yeah, you don't want to use this money. And they just start all
Yeah, the
collecting it.
boy turns away, just shoving it all.
Yeah.
So funny.
Hmm.
And then they use the door, and cocaine's everywhere.
Everywhere. Oh my gosh.
I hear more cocaine than they all got more cocaine on them than the bear did.
Okay, oh, that's funny. Yeah, he did.
So, but that was funny though.
Mhm.
I thought that whole bit of the whole cocaine stuff and everything. There was funny, and they were talking about how annoying that was to shoot because of just. I mean, I can imagine it. I'm somebody who doesn't like sand everywhere, and I don't imagine this is too much different of having, essentially white powdered sand all over you. And they were talking about having to keep it really consistent as well. Of like, well, at this point, you have to make sure they have a lot of white stuff on them. And then next scene, there's a good bit, and then after that, you have to make sure there's still just a little bit there. So a lot of work they did there to make sure that more went off over time.
Oh well, and when he opens up the that closet, it's just full of Beanie Babies, and Vigilante's like, the market will pick up soon.
I was like, when that happened, when we saw the Beanie Babies, I was like, this just is perfectly on brand, and if anything makes sense with what we know about him, with all his animal facts and stuff.
Yeah, he does. It's alligator facts this episode, right?
He brings up the alligator facts at one point. I think it's like right as they're going in, he's like, so you want to hear about alligator facts? Oh, yeah. It's because you mentioned with the cocaine that
the sewers,
with the sewer thing,
yeah. He's like, why don't you just flush it down the toilet like a normal person?
He's like, but what about the alligators?
Yeah, and then he goes, why don't I say alligator facts so you know one? It's great. I love how each episode he's just almost one animal. He just is like, oh, you want to quiz me on?
It's great. He's such a great character. So funny.
It's almost like it'd be better than one vigilante is two vigilantes. That would be almost even better.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's possible.
Right, it's crazy. Welcome back, Matthew. You said he got distracted. Good to see you here. But they do go through the doorway. They encounter the random alien.
And
then and they find the door.
Yeah, Adebayo comes across the helmets.
Right.
So Vigilante just knows the code, which makes sense. He is Peacemaker's.
Yeah, there's this thing of where they're making it important that these realities are really close to each other as far as the specifics. And it's interesting because we're seeing stuff like the codes and the keys, they're all the same. Yeah. All these specifics are the same. The DNA of everyone's the same as we learned in the previous episode or two, a couple episodes ago or something like that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
We learned stuff like that. And so, I like that detail of how they're very close and like making it feel like, this is literally, each Earth is really close other than the defining thing that changes it, which obviously we learned that at the end. But before then, we get a great scene with Rick Flag Sr. and Langston Fleury there. And he comes in, and I don't remember what information Langston... Oh, he is telling him about how everyone is disappearing and all that. Yeah, and haven't seen anything about Judo Master. And that's something I found interesting, is that we didn't see any Judo Master this episode.
That's right. And he walked in through the... He's in that other dimension.
He's somewhere in there, and I'd imagine he's not in a great predicament in that universe either.
I was going to say, he might have gotten captured.
We'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Where I'm sure we'll see him next episode. But here, though, this is a great thing where he's like, Rick Flag Sr. This is the other moment that like really got me this episode. Was Rick Flag Sr. is like, let me think. And then Fleury comes in there, he sits down, and he makes the obvious. He just does all the noises there, and that got me as well. I was like, oh my god.
And Rick Flag's looking at him like, this idiot, like, who hired this guy? How did this guy get hired?
I just saw a meme today with him showing the top part was of Hawkman from Black Adam, and then the bottom part was him saying, "That's Captain Falcon," which
that's great. One thing I did notice about this episode as a whole is the tone shift from the others episodes, because they were all, I don't want to say lighthearted, but heavier on the comedy side. This was a lot more on the serious, almost drama side of things with
Especially
comedy.
after this
Yeah.
moment in particular, I feel like
Yes.
is
Yeah.
when it really makes that shift of, going into the other world. And even
Mhm.
generally, I'd say before this, you didn't get too much of a lighthearted vibe,
Mm-mm.
jokey wise, from the other world, other than
Yeah.
what's his character, Rick Flag Jr. in the other world.
That's
Everything
right.
else,
Yeah.
you
Everything
kind of
else is
had a
like,
more
it's
serious
like
vibe,
colorless.
or
Yeah.
but not saying that as like a bad thing, of where like we got a bunch of good vibes from there
Yeah.
before, but nothing particularly jokey other than Rick Flag Jr.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, definitely from this point on, for sure.
Mhm.
Where they find the other door, they go in there, and Harcourt has a scene with why don't I think of his name again? Keith again.
Yeah.
And
Poor Keith.
Poor Keith. Can't ever remember him. But yeah, they had this big thing of where she was like, what do I do here? And trying to figure out exactly what she's trying to do and gather information all weirdly, and trying to fit in. And then there's a whole thing with the snow globe.
I would have loved if when she pushed Economos in that door and she said, I
Yeah.
just took a big dump in there. What would have been hilarious is if Keith went, that's not a bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it is, but it would have been funny if it wasn't. And he's like, you are weird,
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. And then having to get the snow globe, and
this other Harcourt, or Thirst Court, as James calls her, must be really out there. The fact that Keith is kind of just going along with this, and it's not out of the ordinary that Harcourt would be saying all these things that aren't adding up.
Yeah, he's probably gonna think there's some weird things going on, but yeah, it's definitely interesting of like the lines of like you're just weird. Like I think he kind of gave this expression of anytime he's talking like he's talking to a weirdo,
Yeah, true.
And so I interpret it as like maybe they obviously knew each other,
right?
But I don't think he was ever close to her. So this is probably like what I'd imagine is one of the very few. I would think one of the first one-on-one conversations they would have ever had.
That's a good point.
How I
that would make
interpret
sense.
it. So,
yeah, no, that would make sense. Yeah.
But anyway, we had the whole conversation, and there's the whole thing with the snow globe, which technically jumped at the very end, but that was a funny in credit as well.
It was
the snow globe, and it, going on the extended version about it being from her their dead mother, which is that's funny.
Yeah, I love when Harcourt's like, "Oh, she was a great woman," or something like that. We talked all the time, and he goes, "She died when he was 2."
Yeah.
Then he convinces her that she could talk to her spiritually.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, you're talking to her ghost and all that, obviously. Right? That's how that works, right? Right.
Hey, maybe in this other dimension you can do that.
So, but yeah, the whole time though, I need to rewatch this scene in particular to see what other stuff was going on with Vigilante and Adebayo in the closet, because I'm pretty sure they were probably doing stuff the entire time, but I was so focused on the conversation.
Adebayo was going, like when Keith offered her a ride, she was going like, no.
Yeah, I saw certain motions like that, but it's like I'm sure there's probably something else happening there if you were watching the stuff they were doing. But I was just so focused on Keith in particular, since we haven't seen a bunch of his character, like
that's true.
So for him being there and being a big part of it, I was like, holy cow.
Yeah. I loved Economos after Keith and Harcourt leave, and he asks who that was, and Adebayo says that's Peacemaker's dead brother, Keith, and he just goes, oh. And he's like, oh.
Yeah.
He's like, it's weird, he just like Adebayo's like, hold it, get it together,
That's the thing that make you throw up.
Exactly.
Not going through other dimensions or anything, but that.
Yeah.
But oh man, yeah, that was good. Let's see. After that, we get a little scene of, speaking of Thirst Court and the and Peacemaker together, and then we see Harcourt and Keith back in his truck that he's driving. And we learn about the two biggest bands are the Beatles. If I remember right, it's BEE dash Bills.
Yes,
how it's spelled. And then the other biggest band in the world is Halloween, which the joke of that being that one's a very small band that I never even have you ever heard of them before this?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither.
I thought it was just a joke. Like
yeah, the joke is, well, they are a legit
Yeah.
band, and the song that plays during that scene is actually by Halloween. It is the
Okay.
song called and it's a very fitting song, especially with the world they're in. And
Yeah, I'm just seeing it's a German band. That's that's James, man. You know your stuff.
And he was talking about he was having to make sure he was like, I had to make sure you had to make sure it wasn't too insensitive to use that there either.
Well,
because he wasn't even thinking about it as well when he did it. And then once the connection was made, he was like, hold on.
And I love how all the Beatles are the same, except there's no Ringo. It's Mick Jagger.
I forgot about that. That's funny. The song by Halloween that's played is called Forever in One, and then in parentheses Neverland. And so I listened to the full song, and I liked it, but I was like, this very much fits that vibe.
Oh, we liked it. Clip that, guys.
And anyway.
Well, that's one thing though that I like about what James does with his songs, though, is like he does research and like, I mean, how many people have heard of Halloween? That's like a niche amount of people.
Yeah, only like people that's into music, I feel like, really kind of know them.
Yeah,
I'd be interested in I'd have to ask some of my music friends and like give them a track list and be like, so how many songs do you know of these or artists?
Exactly,
these,
and then you start getting concerned the more that they know.
Why do you have a German song on your list? Don't mind that. Just
right.
continue on.
Yeah.
But it is interesting though, because it seems like every week, maybe for this week it was the first band, that there's a bunch of Swedish bands involved. It just with the music choices in general, where it's kind of weird just seeing. I don't know if James. It seems like he was coming to this realization as he more and more he did the podcast, that he's just naturally drawn to Swedish bands throughout like the season and maybe even season 1, which is kind of interesting. I mean, hey, they make good music. Maybe them Swedens are onto something.
Yeah, there you go.
So
yeah, I mean, it's like that. Even the theme song, never probably would have ever heard that song in my life if it weren't for being the intro song. Like,
this is true.
So
for me, for sure, yeah. Because I'm not a big. I mean, I know we've talked about this before, but just like, I'm not a big music person, and so that's why I always love. I mean, I there's several. I mean, obviously, most of the music I find I like to listen to that's based on movies is stuff James did. That's a central part to everything he does. But there's definitely just in general, finding great other stuff to listen to, which is always great.
And I think it's interesting. I don't know if we touched on this or not, but when our Harcourt shows up to Argus, the dog can sense the cocaine on her, so they have to call her back with security. They didn't do a deep check on her though. I mean, I guess if it's not on her bloodstream, it doesn't matter. But it was clearly on her coat.
I was about to say they did make it obvious that it was lined with it, so I thought there would have been something more of them at least questioning, "Hey, why do you have this on you?"
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but let's see here. Here we get into Vigilante in his other house where they're very close, very minor differences. And then
I love when he's like, "Oh he's like so excited. He's like, "My house is the same,"
Then it's like a squirrel instead of a chipmunk or something like that.
Yeah, he goes up to like everything. He's like, "Oh, you're supposed to be this, not this,"
He's so excited about finding himself, and that was the whole thing before then too. He was like, "I got to go find my other self. I got to go find my other self."
Yeah, and he sees like the thing of cats, and he goes, "Oh, they have 6 cats instead of 3. What would 6 cats have to talk about?" Like I would love to pick his brain and think, well, what would 3 cats have to talk about? Like,
and then we have Cheery -O's, very important part there. And then he walks past the room with his mother and father watching TV, and then he's like, "Oh, my dad's not gay in this universe." I was like, that. So that was such a funny line. See, it's like that's like just as good of a joke, I feel like, of the other version of Economos.
Yeah.
Have fucking her. Because there, it would have been the only time you would have seen him. But when you think about it, it's like, why would he have been there? I think is probably the big thing of trying to actually have a story purpose for each person being where they are. And having John Economos there would have been like, why? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's probably the main reason. But I think that the new joke is just equally as good, though.
Yeah,
that was
it's
so
funny.
But yeah, that was funny. And anyway, he's able to get into use all the same keys to get into his other room where he finds his other self working on stuff, and we get to Spider-Man point with him.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Spider-Man is now officially, at least fictional wise, canon to the DCU.
Yeah.
I love how they go back and forth, and they agree on everything. Like everything's the same. And then our vigilante says, "Is Peacemaker your best friend?" And then that vigilante goes, "Peacemaker? He's my arch nemesis. He's my enemy. He's the very reason why I joined the what was the society he's in?
Sons of Liberty.
Sons of Liberty, yeah. And I was wondering as they were going back and forth, I was like, there's going to be a key difference here between them. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, I like it too, is they get in this groove of like, is your thinking about this? Yes. Yes. And then, even after he does that Peacemaker thing, he says yes and like instinct after, even though he was like, no, I hate him, And so, but that was great seeing them two bounce off of each other there.
I was going to ask you this, since you're a little bit more knowledgeable than I am. What exactly is the Sons of Liberty?
So they are, I'm trying to remember exactly their exact purpose, but they are, I know they appeared in the CW at one point.
Okay.
But I'm trying to remember exactly what role they would have had in the main universe. As the main context I know of it is more of this. But you know what?
Okay.
Let's
you just do a quick Google,
here.
I guess.
Yeah, do a quick little Google here and see exactly what.
I was just curious because off the top of my head, it did not ring a bell.
Right. Because we were made aware of them in the episode when they kicked ass.
Yeah.
And the when Peacemaker kicked their asses. That's what I was trying to say. But see here, it was originally created in 1991 in a Superman comic. By Jerry Ordway, which is interesting. Where they are goal of overthrowing the American government under the belief that the United States has drifted too far off from the core principles of the American Constitution. So the idea of it's the same, except here it works a bit better, obviously, in the context of what this universe is, and that they're
very much so.
In a way, well, James brings up a good point about them of like, what they're fighting for is arguably a better thing. Where they really the good guys if their way they're going about it is violence, and trying to, do all these things, and then and Peacemaker kills them all, and so it's it's. Oh man, I still love that action sequence too. When thinking back on it, it was a great part, I thought. So, but yeah, that's the Sons of Liberty. I believe I could be wrong, but if I remember right with Chris telling me, I believe he told me that Sam Witwer plays one of the main Sons of Liberty guys in Supergirl, if I remember right.
Oh, okay.
So, anyone who's watched Supergirl, let us know if that's correct or incorrect, because that's just something I've heard from someone else. But if I remember right, that's what I heard. Because I know Sam Witwer is in Supergirl somewhere, and I believe it's with the Sons of Liberty, is what I was told. So.
Oh, well, I guess now I have to watch Supergirl. Which it could be good. I have no idea.
I watched the first little bit of it as it came out. I remember liking it. I'd have to go back into it, but I know the big thing that I want to go through is our next thing that we'll talk about. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next time we do our show. We'll circle back to that. But
yeah.
So, where were we at? The two vigilantes together were great, though. Their vibe off each other. I want to know how they did it because it seemed like they had another actor there that was just really close. Like him, you know.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, though, they did that really well. Of like, I was looking at the two, and it's like just really hard to tell, you know, which one was the real one. So great job there. Like they've been doing some great things with body doubles, and one of the great things too. We may have talked about this near the beginning of the show when we covered, talked a bit more about the dance sequence. But one of the most impressive parts of that dance sequence is when you have the regular hardcore, and then they do this perfect cut where right as the other one's going away, the other one comes in from the other universe in that dance sequence. And it's, it's a really well done thing of where like literally the other one comes in before the other one leaves. And so
interesting.
It's they do a great job with like mixing that there, which is really cool. And Chris was saying yes, Agent Liberty is who Sam Witwer played. So one goof in the world is they had a South Korean Kia Soul they wouldn't have. South Korea. Is that like a kind of car? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that would
okay. Okay, as I was saying, that seems like a kind of car that was. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're good with that kind of stuff though. I don't know. You know, don't think about it too much, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, it got out. It got away. It escaped.
It is good. The car escaped. Let's see here. Next scene, we see Adebayo and John Economos cleaning up after Eagly. And
that was great.
Yeah, and Adebayo. I think this is the point where I don't think she's quite going out on her walk yet.
No, but she mentioned, when they're cleaning up, she's like, "I'm gonna go for a walk," and Economist was like, "It's safer here.
I'm gonna stay here."
Yeah, which honestly may not have. It was not safer for him actually.
Yeah, this is true. But after that was the bombshell of the scene. Rick Flag Sr., who went to Belle Reve Prison to, well, here's the thing. Before this cameo appeared, there's two people, and I, in my mind, thought it was going to be somebody else they were going to put in the show instead of him in the place of the prisoner. Because I had a specific reason for why I thought this other person was going to appear. But before I say who and why I thought this other person appeared before who actually appeared, I want to know, who were you expecting the prisoner to be? Were you surprised by this cameo? Yeah, what were your thoughts on it?
I actually, so you're a little bit more knowledgeable in the DC universe than I am. So when I heard Belle Reve, I went, oh, that's probably Lex, because I had just rewatched Superman, and you know when they're arresting Lex, they say take him to Belle Reve. So just the last time I heard that word was associated with Lex, so I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be Lex.
And indeed it was.
Yeah.
So when
apparently they filmed this the same time they were filming Superman.
Yeah. They filmed those scenes. Yeah. Made sure so they could get Nicholas Hoult here, which he did a great job in it. There was this line which I wish I could remember. You know, here's the thing. One thing I want to say about this is that I loved how this is a great total difference example with DC with this scene. As we take this character who we're familiar with from Superman, and he's still Lex in the scene, but it's in a more jokey way that fits the Peacemaker tone, which is great, while still being Lex. Which is, I think, one of the great examples of what DC accomplishes, not just in the comics, but also what James Gunn is wanting to do in his universe here, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
But there's this line that Lex says, and I wish I could remember about it. Something about some sort of scaly skinned person butt fucking a anime glowing guy dude. You know, I don't remember exactly how it goes. It's something like that.
Yeah, I remember something along
And
those
it's
lines.
and here's the thing: is people are like, okay, a glowy-eyed anime glowy person. Okay, that's probably what's his name? It's just I just had it from Creature Commandos. The guy that what's his name voice? Alan Tudyk voices. Dr. Phosphorus. There we go.
Yes,
That Dr. Phosphorus. But then the other one's a little more like, who is it? And the thing that I think people are thinking of because of it talking about like a more scaly skin is I think it could be Killer Croc. So quite the image of them two doing that to each other. Probably don't want to think about that too much.
It's not going to get out of my head, unfortunately.
But yeah, interesting thing there. Now who I thought it was going to be though was and this is going to lead into the kind of next general point I was wanting to talk about. But with I thought their goal wasn't trying to track where the portal was, but needing help to specifically get Peacemaker. Because in my mind, they're losing agents left and right, so they need somebody new to help them.
Yeah.
So I thought they were going to he was going to cut some sort of deal where he could get somebody out of that prison to actually help them. Which, okay, that does happen, but I meant in a more physical way.
Right.
So my thought was, well, who's the one guy that beat Peacemaker before? And so I thought,
yeah,
we would potentially get Bloodsport back as sort of being like,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so that's where my mind went. It was like, maybe we'd get Bloodsport back in a way of trying to help them get, bring in Peacemaker since they're losing these people left and right. And to me, it seemed like they're losing people to be able to do so. You know, they had the perfect opportunity to get him and then it failed last episode. And so that's why I thought he could have been the cameo this week. Which obviously that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But that's just where my train of thought was.
Point. That would have been cool to see, and it still would have made sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's like it's like I don't feel like that theory is outlandish. I felt like it completely, is within the realm of possibility as far as what could have actually happened.
Yeah.
Especially with it, the main events of the Suicide Squad are like, they're still, about, he would have had to have ended up in the scenario of areas and Peacemaker because of what happened to him, and because he killed them, so like that whole, well, certain parts of that movie may not be 100% canon. I think you could take that one whole action sequence of him killing Rick Flag Jr. and then Bloodsport shooting him back as full canon, I would say. If there's anything you take fully canon for that movie. So that's why my mind went there. Matthew made a comment about Lex saying Lex doesn't give a crap about normal human vigilante, but does if they are meta-human. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though, too, is we see him make that disgust against it. And James Gunn brings up a good point, too, of you have three big what were the big corporations? Well, there's three big. You have the government, corporations, and metahumans are like the big three forces of the world. You was talking about the significance with Superman is that the end of that movie was the first time metahumans made a giant act/resurgence in that in over hundreds of years.
Well, and even the one member from the Pentagon tells Rick Flag Sr. at the end of Superman, he's like, metahuman. He said, whether you like it or not, metahumans are now calling the shots.
Yeah. And so it's one of the big things. And that's the great thing is I highly recommend, I believe it's in the DC compact editions. One of my favorite ever DC stories. Actually, one of my favorite ever comic stories of all time is Kingdom Come.
I think I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. As that was the new Superman movie. And I know I talked about it during the Superman review, is that it's like the story was essentially a reverse Kingdom Come. And so, I love that story so much. If you ever get it, I'll absolutely do a review over it because I love that story.
Yeah, I might have to pick it up on the compact comic. I like those a lot.
They're pretty great. Oh, you know what? I'll while we're talking about comics, let me grab something here really quick. I didn't get it, but
I can say whatever I want.
since we're talking about comics and you were talking about editions of comics you really like, I know I've shared a picture of this around, but I got this awesome Peacemaker collection here. Look at that's a good
That is a thick boy
bit there. Yeah, these list price are $40, and those on Amazon for $25.
Nice.
And so it was on a little bit of like a back order. I actually ordered this like a few weeks ago.
Oh,
and so it took a little bit to get here, but this collects all of his main appearances, and this will tell you how little of a character he is from the comics and how obscure of a character. From 1966 to 1993, and it's I'd have to math how many issues are actually in this, but essentially, though, only something this big for that many years, though, that's not a lot of appearances for that character.
No, it's not.
And the only thing where it's really doesn't collect that I know he appeared in was like the one panel he was in Crisis on Infinite Earths, but that's a giant.
Well, that is so important to his character.
Right, exactly.
They need that one panel.
Right, exactly.
Gosh,
but it's really nice, though, having all this stuff here. Having, a bunch of stuff there, which is really
You might have to send me the link to that, so I
absolutely
get that. Yeah.
But I love what DC's been doing here with these DC Finest editions. I got two others. One's of Wonder Woman collecting part of one of her more recent eras, and the other one's with Metamorpho collecting like a good 10 years of Metamorpho and like his own solo series, and him part of like the Justice League of America, I think, and all that for a little bit as well. And so that was the first one that I picked up and grabbed, and then at the same time I also bought the Wonder Woman one, but the Metamorpho one just grabbed me of like I think it's so cool that it's a great way to get into these smaller characters.
Yeah.
Like when the movie was coming out, Superman, I was like, I want to know more about Metamorpho. I haven't really read much of him or anything. Like I've read stuff with Guy Gardner because I'm a big Green Lantern fan. I've read stuff with Mr. Terrific because he's been part of different events and stuff. And so I was just like, I want more Metamorpho, and I had never found I found some stuff that like, yeah, you could read these, but I just never went out of my way. Yeah. And so it's a great way to read this stuff. And so seeing them also do it with Peacemaker now too, which is awesome. Cool. They do it, of course, with the big name characters as well, such as one of the very first ones, if not the first one, actually, they released was a Superman one, where it collected, I believe it was the first 25 issues of the original, the very first 25 issues of Action Comics, where it's like, how cool would that be to collect and read the original Supermans where he came from? And then I know one I'm going to get next year is there's a Joker one coming out that I'm really excited for.
Nice.
Where it collects one of the most iconic Joker stories that I haven't read yet. So it's like even more reason for me to check it out. I know that's shocking. It's from an era of Batman I haven't delved into because it would have been probably 80s Batman, potentially 90s, but I want to bet 80s Batman would be my guess. Is why I haven't read a bunch of Batman from them.
A mutual friend of ours, David, I can't remember if he said this in our chat or not, but he was talking about he picked up the new Batman. I think it's year 1, like the new reboot or revival of the Batman comics.
The Batman and Robin year 1 or the issue 1?
Yes, Batman and Robin year 1. Yeah.
Okay.
And he said that it's really bad. Apparently, it's like pretty bad.
I've heard somebody that was read it and really liked it. And so, and it's written by, if the writer of who I remember it is, he's a really good writer for the most part. But I know some people just don't like him, but he's a big current DC writer.
I have been wanting to check out the Absolute Batman series. I've just haven't been able to find it.
Oh my God.
I've heard it's great.
Yes, that is a must read. They recently came out with copies of the first volume. And actually, this is like we're going all so far off on the side.
At least it's still DC talk.
I was going to say we'll get back on track here soon. But speaking of that, though, what was huge about that is I believe for anybody who doesn't know the industry well, manga completely dominates the comics industry. However, the Absolute Batman Volume 1 release, I believe, debuted at like a number 3 or something.
Wow.
And the top sellers of that month or whatever, which is unheard of in this world where manga is completely dominated the space where people, usually read this stuff. And so that's to show how huge of a deal that Absolute Batman is, where I can't say for sure this is the last comic to have actually done that, but one of the last comics to have broken that mold would have been The Last Ronin, which is just a huge comic as well. And so DC's done great big things with their Absolute universe. And I'm actually, since we're talking about it, I haven't decided if I want to do a stream or a video of it. But somebody I've been wanting to get onto the channel for a little bit, we're going to be doing a Absolute 1 year in on the Absolute is on on October 9th is going to mark a whole year since the first issue of Absolute Batman came out. So we've both been keeping up with the Absolute stuff. I'm actually a little bit behind on a couple of the titles. I need to catch up, but but I'm going to make sure to catch up before then. And we're either going to do a video or stream, and it's going to be like, a big whole thing where we talk about 1 year of the Absolute universe, how we feeling about it, are we looking forward to what's next and all that. So that'll be a fun thing that we're going to do. And so that's going to be, I'll say, probably expect that as being my next comic related video, as I probably won't have time to really put out anything else before then, as you and me both know school takes up a bunch of time.
Yeah.
It keeps us very busy. And so but yeah, that's something I'm wanting to do. But yeah, the world of comics, there's so much great stuff. We definitely need to do a comic review on here sometime. So, but back to Peacemaker.
I guess we could talk about the we're right around the big reveal, but right before that is when Peacemaker's dad gets home, and Economos flips out.
Yes.
Augie, not Arthur. His name's Augie. And you don't think he knows that he's there, and then next thing you know, he has Economos on the ground and is stabbing him with a knife.
I was like, holy shit, he stabbed Economos was what I was thinking of. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, is he? But one of my thoughts after that was like, is Economos okay? And we don't see anything.
Right,
else.
We don't see any more. Yeah, we don't know.
And so I don't. It's like, holy fuck. Like Economos, like he might not make it out of this alive.
That's true. He could be. He's held hostage.
I'm fully
right now,
expecting that either him or Adebayo have a very good chance of not making it out of the season.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But
speaking of Adebayo, she's just going for a walk. She's just enjoying herself. This lady walks by, and then and Keith drives by, and like all these people run out of their house, and Keith gets out and goes, "What got out? A black." And I was like, how are they able to get that approved? But
they did.
Not that I care, but I was like, just with whatever. But then everyone just starts chasing her. We end with her running, so it'll be
ends with her running and unfurling the flag of, it's not 50 stars, but it's the
it's the Nazis. So
but before then though, there was a couple other things I want to talk about though. One thing was actually connected back to the Lex Luthor thing. And this is more me asking clarification, because when I was watching, I was confused, and I'd get an answer to this if I went back and watched the first episode again, but I haven't taken the time to do that. But with it though, I thought it was really interesting that he was needing help with Lex Luthor went from Lex Luthor to find the doorway. And this is where I was getting mixed up, as I was thinking, wasn't them knowing Peacemaker had the doorway while he was being tracked in the beginning of the show?
Yes, that's why they knew that doing it at Vigilante's house, they wouldn't be tracked, because they wouldn't have surveillance of his house. Because they had that 24-hour surveillance of Peacemaker's house. So when the door was open and there was like that pulse and stuff, they were able to detect that. I'm pretty sure that's how they knew each time when
they went to surveillance because they detected it, right?
Yeah.
So then that's my question is, why wouldn't they have been able to detect it at Vigilante's house now if they already know what they're detecting?
That's a good question.
That is where my confusion comes into, is I was like, they had that reason of why they went on, and look at the cute puppies.
They're taking over.
I know, right? Of why it was initially. And so that's why I was like, I need to like I said,
Yeah.
I was wanting to know more about that because I was like, they were able to detect it somehow, and so that's why I was
Yeah.
like, why did they
That's a
need
good
Luther's
point.
help
Yeah,
then?
I didn't even think about that.
And
That they
so I was
yeah.
confused about that, and I was trying to look at like do a Google search, and it wasn't too helpful
Mhm.
about it. And I was like, okay, I just need to rewatch the episode, and I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So, so if there's any like sort of what do you want to say critiques I have, I'm like, or with the story, it's like, what's that? You know, because there's that link there that I made. I'm like, why do they even need Lex's help? Which, speaking
Yeah.
of, we get this hint that it's I don't remember his name, but it looks like it'll be the guy that was in glasses that was like doing all the tech stuff on the computer from Superman.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Lex, talk like that,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So interesting there. And
One thing that
then,
would be interesting that I
Mhm.
just thought of off the top of my head, is that if this is a big if, but if we were to get a Superman cameo between the next two episodes, which I'm not having my hope is not high for it. But what if it's a Superman in this other dimension, or
yeah.
but it's like a twisted Superman almost, or
Yeah,
something.
I believe there's an actual comic version of that kind of Superman. And I think
Okay.
people talked about it, and I think there's even a reference or something at one point about a pod dropping in somewhere else. And so,
Interesting.
it would be a cool thing to pop up at like the very end as they're getting the hell out of there. It's like, oh shit, it's Superman, or something.
Yeah.
So
Almost just like as a gag, even that would be funny.
yeah, well, we'll see. I'm not.
I'm not
Yeah,
like my
I'm not
anticipation is not like,
sure.
ooh, like
My
the
thought
episodes aren't
was,
ruined,
and James Gunn said that he's not going to appear, but I would have just loved, and I wouldn't expect him to, because of
Yeah,
cost, because I can only imagine the cost of bringing them in GI Robot into this.
that's true.
But my thought was, how great would it have been to have GI Robot in the show, though? Like, just let him out in that world, and to just
I mean, he mentioned that G.I. Joe will be in live action, which will be cool to see.
right. But now he's like a Hulkbuster
Yeah,
GI Robot.
yeah.
So we'll see. So
Well, what would be great because of what G.I. Joe likes to kill is that the G.I. Joes from the main universe, you put the G.I. Joe in Earth X, and he just takes everyone out.
yeah, see, that's exactly where my thought was. I was like, I would love for him to just go there and be like, yeah, all these people there, they're Nazis. Kill them all. It would have been one of the most bloodiest, gory,
That would go
ever
great.
sort of action.
The opening of the episode, and while he's killing people, the intro starts to play.
Yeah,
so
see, it'd be great, but I was like, I knew he went up here because of budget stuff and all that.
Here's the thing, James. We know you're watching. Hire us for some ideas. All right, we're pitching good stuff here. All right.
Could have had his voice giving a call, says Matthew. Be funny if he finds out about this world after everything, and he was like, I missed out on killing Nazis. Sounding so sad about it too.
Yeah. And we're just sitting here caring about GI. That'd be so fun for like he didn't get to kill the Nazis. James will do that to you. You're sitting here crying about a robot.
Couldn't
which
kill
we
Nazis
did in a way. Creature Commandos. Yeah.
Oh man,
Great stuff.
I want to rewatch that show fully back to back. I'd actually like to.
Yeah.
I'd love for him to release that show on like Blu-ray or something as well. I'd buy all this stuff on Blu-ray. Actually.
I would too. Yeah.
I need to go back and buy Peacemaker on Blu-ray as well. Season 1 on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But anyway, point is though, I would have loved for that to happen. I think there's only one other part for us to talk about, which is one of the biggest parts of the episode, where with Peacemaker and a Harcourt together.
Oh, I can't believe we forgot about that.
And Peacemaker, their acting is both great here.
It's awesome in this scene.
And this was the thing that, James Gunn was talking about, how it makes him tear up every time seeing this. And, a big part of it is, you can tell there's just this big personal story of how these two characters have evolved, but also very much how the two actors have evolved too. And, I'm sure we've talked about it before in the show, but having, John Cena is just such a great actor to have grown into this now from John Cena, even since the Suicide Squad and all that, where he's just been able to do all this great stuff. But I feel like James Gunn's wife there, Jennifer Holland, just completely outshined him here in this scene, though.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was like, holy cow, like her acting ability has just been completely, I feel like, overlooked. And what she was able to do in the scene, I thought was absolutely great. Like, you're able to really sort of feel her emotion and feel how kind of broken she was, and her not wanting to, outright admit that he want him home, or she's trying to get him home, but not saying it because she couldn't,
Yeah.
Peacemaker or Chris put her into that position of saying, essentially, you have to tell me you love me or not.
Yeah.
And even
she's
though she
giving
can't
him,
face that herself,
yeah. Well, she's
she
literally
wants
like
him back,
giving him
though.
right. Yeah. Well, she's given like every reason why he shouldn't love her, and he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. It honestly kind of took me back a second. I was like, oh wow, it's like they're doing this drama really good.
Really good.
Really good.
There's a moment near the end of the scene where you literally see tears well up in her eyes. Like,
Yeah.
that's not CG there. That's her able
No.
to do something like that on command, which is, for an actor to tap into their emotions
That's
like
impressive.
that, is really tough.
Yeah.
And just being able to see him do that is just like, whoa. And so I thought that was just incredible there. What a great scene. I understand why this was, one of James Gunn's, like, just, huge emotional scene for him. And so I thought, what a scene right there. But as we already covered, the episode ends with a lot of characters in quite the predicament. John Economos gets stabbed. They uncurl the Nazi flag.
Adebayo's trying to outrun the entire town.
And we get the song. It's a song by Dynasty called Presence of Mind, which I really like that song, actually. They actually had a song I really liked as well that was in season 1. And so hearing them back was cool. They, in season 1, had a song called The Human Paradox, which I think was another in-credit song, if I remember right. But it was another song that I really liked, and so to see him back was really cool. But yeah.
Nice.
And there we have it. I think that's everything there is with Ignorance is Chris, right? Yeah. Chris, you're ignorant, in case you didn't know. Hope you're listening still. But next week there will be no show because I'm not gonna be here. I know, right? That's terrible. I have I know Andrew's gonna be all by himself, wishing he could talk about the next episode of Peacemaker. Don't worry, I'm sure I will be as well, but not alone, but wishing to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be not at home, as I already have some other plans for that weekend. And so we're just going to have it be a big special finale where we're going to be talking about the last 2 episodes together. I'm sure there's going to be a lot for us to talk about, as that's probably, heads up to everyone, that's probably going to end up being our longest episode, just because we're talking about the big grand finale of the 2 together. But then also at some point during that as well, we will also talk about what we're doing next, as we want to do more stuff on Saturdays after Peacemaker. So we have something else planned that we're going to start doing. So we'll talk about that after. We'll announce it there when we at our final Peacemaker show. So we'll be talking about what exactly that is. So, but yeah, Peacemaker season 2. Well, let's end it with this question. Do you think James Gunn, based off of the first episode of these theory, do you think he's overhyped what we got?
I don't think so. I think it's almost, I think this is acting as an arc. So I think this is laying the foundation for the next 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So he says it's action packed. I believe him.
I hope so.
He has yet, in my opinion, to not deliver with a comic book project.
I agree.
So if he's saying these are some of the best things he's done, as of right now, I have no reason to not believe that.
He has such a great track record.
Yeah.
So, but yes, 100% right. I agree. Honestly, for me, like if we're talking about favorite episodes, I think this is like the best one we've gotten so far, at least for me.
I think so too.
We'll see what happens next, but this one, I just remember turning it off and thinking, this is just great.
Yeah, well, I even said last week that the first 5, they were all really good, but they were all kind of they were consistent with each other.
Yeah.
This was the first one where I was like, okay, I could probably put this above
the
first 5.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean the other first 5 are bad.
Yeah.
It just means this is elevated.
A big part of it too was those first 5 were very, not saying this one isn't, but those first 5 were very character driven. We really only had, of those 5, maybe like 2 action sequences. You know, it's for a comic book show, it really doesn't feel like a comic book show in a lot of ways.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you take away the Peacemaker part, where we don't even see him in his Peacemaker outfit a whole lot.
We've barely ever seen him in that, and the one action scene we've gotten with him, really, he's not even in
that Kardashian outfit. Yeah.
Well, there's that, but then there's him not in the outfit, killing himself in the outfit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So yeah, but still, you know, it's part of the reason why I love what DC's doing is that it feels very diverse. And hearing the recent comments about Clayface and James Gunn, you know, making, or you know, the whole thing of that they're using a bunch of prosthetics and not CGI.
Yeah,
it's going to be cool to see how that turns out. I'm not a big horror person, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this one's going to turn out.
Yeah,
so that'll be awesome. So. But yeah, make sure everyone tune in next week here in the Dingus Den for more, or not next week. Jesus, I was just talking about not next week, not next week,
not next
2 weeks, 2 weeks from now. Make sure to tune in to our finale discussion of this, as I'm sure that'll be a great big fun time. Until then, I'll probably try to stream some on Twitch every now and then whenever I have some time. And then on Mondays, make sure to check out the Tabletop Lounge, where I will be streaming the Trail of Conspiracy, where that's been a great, fun D&D campaign. Need to work on. I actually need to work on some story stuff for what's going to be happening on Monday, so I'll probably be doing that tomorrow. But yeah, what do you have coming out this next week?
Yeah, well, tomorrow night over on the Came and Focus YouTube channel, we will be going live at 9 p.m. Eastern to discuss War of the Worlds from 2005. Tom Cruise, not Ice Cube, where we're staying away from that one. We don't want to suffer too bad. And then you can catch me 2 nights a week over on the Feast of Phantoms YouTube channel. This Monday, for MCU Monday, we'll be going live at 9:30 Eastern to be discussing Marvel Zombies, which I've heard is good. I actually haven't watched it yet, but I will be watching it the next day or so for the show, obviously.
In the middle of watching it right now.
Awesome.
So,
is it good? Are you enjoying it?
First episode was in my opinion, but what I've seen of the second one was a bit better. So
okay. There you go.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, if it continues doing an upward trajectory, maybe it'll end up being solid overall. So we'll see.
Awesome. And then Thursday night on the Cantina Happy Hour, this past Thursday, we discussed the new Star Wars Lego special, Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past, which was a lot of fun. Lego specials are always fun. We'll be picking back up with our Clone Wars series. I believe it's season 2, episode 4. Because I think it's a 1 episode. So, yeah.
I'm going to look up what that is because I'm curious which one that is.
Because there was the first 3 episodes were an arc.
And wasn't that stuff with Cad Bane initially?
Yes, it was with the holocron.
That's right.
That was the end of season 1.
But it was Cad Bane stuff right after. I remember
it was Cad Bane, yes.
Because initially he was just a throwaway character in season 1, and then they're like, "Oh, he's really cool," and so then they did more with him, which is cool.
Yeah.
So.
And then for the following week, just as an announcement, the Sith Dominion podcast, which is a show I do with some of my friends, we are returning after a close to a 2-month hiatus, I think.
There you go.
So we'll be coming back to Tuesday night shows, which will be a lot of fun.
That's what it is. The Clone Wars episode you all are covering is called Senate Spy. Padme investigates a separatist conspiracy in the Senate.
Padme. She's always getting herself into shenanigans, and Anakin has to come and save her.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right. So that's
All right.
next week.
Great stuff. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Matthew,
Yeah.
for chatting. Great seeing. Appreciate anybody that was lurking and listening, or anyone that listens in afterwards. Appreciate everyone very much. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you've made it this far and haven't already. And thank you all, everybody, so much. And I'll see you next time here in the Dingus Den.